Hello, my name is Jason Chatro, and I'm here today with Allan Leverone, the author of The Lonely Mile, The Final Vector, and the latest release, Panska Gonki.
You got it.
And it's Alan's, we were talking about how to pronounce that, and Alan says pronounce it however you want. So that's how I'm going to pronounce it. If you can spell it and you can find it, then you'll be glad you did. Well, Alan, thanks for coming on and talking with me today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So Alan, we're talking a little bit about your book, The Lonely Mile, has kind of been a very quick rise to success this week, actually.
Yep.
Anyway, so I want to talk a little bit about that, but it's kind of in the top 10 on the thriller charts on Kindle right now. Can you tell me a little bit about the story is a powerful story about a dad trying to save his daughter. What kind of, did that have any kind of personal significance for you when you're writing it or when you're coming up with this plot line for this book?
Well, anyone who has children has probably run the nightmare scenario through their head about what would I do if something happened to little Amy or little Joey. And if you have kids or even if you have nieces and nephews, you know the kind of iron grip that goes around your heart when you think about that kind of scenario. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to create a regular guy, not a superhero guy, not Jack Reacher, although I love Jack Reacher. I wanted a guy that was just like you and me. And I wanted to put him in a situation where his worst nightmare came true and see what he did, find out how he reacted. And so that's what I did. I threw as many obstacles in his way as I could. I feel kind of bad for the guy. But the idea for the book actually came 30 years ago when I was driving back and forth on the New York State Thruway to college. I went to school almost 1,000 miles from where I lived, and so I would drive all night to get to school at the end of the summer. And along the way, they had these little lonely little highway rest stop area things where you could pull in and get gas and get a cup of coffee, get something to eat. And in the middle of the night, those things are pretty creepy. And I remember thinking at the time, how easy would it be for someone to go into one of these things and wreak havoc and be gone before anybody knew? So that's how the book starts. My hero, Bill Ferguson, he's in one of these highway rest areas, and he's having a cup of coffee, and he stumbles on a crime in progress, and he does what everyone would like to believe they would do. He breaks it up, and he saves a young girl, but in the process, he puts his own family in the sights of a sociopath, and things rapidly go downhill there for him and his daughter, unfortunately.
Who are some of the people that you like to read and kind of inspire you to write?
Well, he's number one. I'm a huge Lee Child fan. The first Jack Reacher book I read, I knew I had reached the promised land. I read to be entertained. I love genre fiction. I don't have anything against literary fiction whatsoever. It just doesn't interest me. I like to read genre fiction. I like thrillers and I like horror. And you can't think thriller without thinking Lee Child. I mean, his name is synonymous with thrillers. So he's number one. There are a bunch of different authors I love to read. Harlan Coben's great. I also enjoy horror, noir. Tom Piccirilli is one of the best in my opinion. He's a greatly underrated author. The guy writes with such emotion and so everything he writes has a razor's edge to it. The guy's just unbelievable. But I could probably list 100 different authors. I'm a huge fan of Vincent Zandri, not just for his work, but also for what he's done for me. You could list. I could sit here probably the rest of the morning and list all my. There are so many.
Tell me a little about your journey and like when you started writing fiction and kind of why.
Well, I worked on the high school newspaper when I was in high school. I went to college with the intention of of becoming a newspaper journalist. I went to major in journalism. Um, After my freshman year, I decided to change that because I looked around and I didn't see many newspaper journalists making much money. I didn't want to live under a bridge my whole life. So I became a business major. And when I graduated college, I didn't do anything with my degree. I became an air traffic controller instead. So for the next 30 years or so, I didn't write at all. Although I love to read. I always, I read probably 50 to 75 books a year. Um, but I concentrated on my family and my job. And about, I'd say 6 years ago, I really started to get the writing bug again. But I didn't start writing fiction. What I started was a sports blog at foxsports.com. It was January, I would say, of 2006. And because I'm a huge sports fan, I started blogging about sports. I made some pretty good friends over there at Fox Sports, had pretty good response from readers. I authored some blogs that made their way onto the front page of Fox, or Fox Sports, that is. Um, and about 9 or 10 months into this sports blogging thing, it occurred to me that what I really wanted to do was write fiction. As much as I love sports, and I still do, I began to itch to write fiction. So that's what I did. Before I really knew what I was doing, I wrote a book. I wrote a fiction manuscript, and it's about a guy that is a professional assassin that wants to get out of the life, but just can't quite manage to do it because he's too good at what he does. Um, it's never been published, but I still think it has potential. And I just sat down and I wrote it, and I figured I'd write this book. I'd submit it to all the major publishers. I'd wait for the offers to come rolling in, and then I'd choose from the best one. Well, obviously, it worked that way. I had no idea what I was doing. And but then once I started writing, I realized how much I missed it and how much I enjoyed it, and I just haven't stopped.
You know that there's no such thing really as an overnight success. It's suddenly you're successful, but it's not overnight that you've
Right.
started doing writing and pushing stuff. Tell me, a little bit about walk me through what happened over the weekend, what you did, and then now how you've sold now maybe approaching 50,000 books that people have downloaded of yours of the Lonely Mile over the past week.
Yeah. Well, you hit the nail right on the head. My sales were sluggish. I would say they were sluggish. And
Like a book a day
so,
sluggish.
yeah, about a book a day. I was probably selling around 30 a month of The Lonely Mile, and I couldn't figure out how to get any traction. And I had seen the Kindle Select program when it came out. Obviously, anybody that writes books has to keep up with what Amazon's doing because they're the giant in the industry now. And I looked at the Kindle Select program, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Giving away your book for free just didn't make a lot of sense. I didn't see any way where you were going to be able to make money by giving something away. But then, I have a lot of author friends on Facebook, and I follow a lot of authors, and reports started coming back from the field of sales spiking after authors uh, participated in the Kindle Select program. Um, the program, I'm sure you probably are well aware, is offered by Amazon, and what the author or publisher or agent needs to do is remove the book from sale at any other vendor. They give Amazon exclusivity for the title for 90 days, and then they will promote it for up to 5 days if it's offered for free. And I looked at that, and it didn't make any sense, but authors started talking about how their sales were spiking after they participated in the program. So I asked Aaron Patterson, the CEO at Stonehouse, he's my publisher, for The Lonely Mile and Pascagonkey, which just came out. I asked him what do you think about us participating in this? And he was very enthusiastic about it. He said he thought it was a great idea, so we decided to do it. And we decided on last weekend we would do a 2-day promotion, Saturday and Sunday, offer The Lonely Mile for free, and see what happened. So that's what we did. And I remember saying to my wife, maybe I'll get 500 or 1,000 downloads and get a little bit of a spike afterward after sale. And the minute it went on sale, it started climbing up the free charts at Amazon. And eventually, I'd say within probably 6 or 8 hours of being offered for free, it was on top of the free chart, and it stayed there for 2 days. Um, and the response was so enthusiastic. We're getting so many downloads of this free book that we ran it for an extra day. We ran it through Monday night. And by the end of the 3 days, I think we ended up with 42,000 downloads of The Lonely Mile. And I asked Aaron Monday night, I said, are we going to keep running it? The response, I was still like number 3 on the free chart at Amazon after 3 days. And he said, no. He said, now's the time to remove it from the promotion, offer it back for sale, and see what happens. And I'm telling you, the guy's a genius. So I said, well, I believe completely that he has a really good instinct for this stuff. So that's what we did. And on Tuesday, we offered it for sale again, and it started selling like crazy, and it hasn't stopped.
What are you doing now? And if you're if you had the opportunity, would you want to write for full time and that kind of thing?
I would love to write full time. As a matter of fact, my day job, the one that actually pays the bills, I work as an air traffic controller, and in the FAA, if you're an operational air traffic controller, you have to leave the job by the time you turn 56. You're required. You have to. You're basically forced into retirement unless you can find an office job somewhere. So I'm now 52, so my clock is ticking.
Hmm.
I need to find something to do after I'm forced out of the FAA because I got 3 kids, 12 years of college to pay off, and so far no money to do it with. Um, so if I can develop a following and write full time when I retire from the FAA, that would be my dream come true because I will be doing something when I turn 56, and it won't be talking to airplanes.
Well, tell us how we can connect with you and help make this dream come true. Twitter, Facebook, some of those places.
Okay, well, I guess the place to start would be my website. It's allanleverone.com. 2 A's separated by 2 L's in my first name. Um, I always like to hear from readers. There's a contact form on there, and if you want to send me an email, tell me you love my book, tell me you hated my book. That's fine too. Just be constructive when you do. Tell me why at least if you didn't like it. Um, that'd be the place to start. I'm on Facebook a lot. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. It's Allan Leverone at Allan Leverone on Twitter. Um, I waste way too much time doing social media. So if you want to get a hold of me on any of those 3 venues, you'd probably be able to do it.
That's great. Well, Allan, I really appreciate taking time to talk to me, and we look forward to following the success of the Lonely Mile, and hopefully, lonely will it'll be lonely at the top for you. Love to see you hit
Um,
#1.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me. Thanks a lot.